We have been talking a lot about this upcoming wave of COVID. The numbers are rapidly rising in terms of cases and hospitalizations. Deaths are up as well, thankfully not proportionally to the cases yet, although they are going up. But that said, it has been depressing to cover this coming wave because it really does feel on a daily basis like none of it matters. The thought leaders on the right, the unthought leaders, are not really changing their behavior aside from Ducey, I guess. And so it seems like it's wasted effort, but there is reason to believe that that is not actually the case. So recently, some of the states hardest hit by the pandemic, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and Oklahoma, are administering vaccinations at a rate not seen since April, according to the response coordinator for the White House COVID-19 task force. Over just the last day, there were a total of 864,000 vaccines administered, the highest since early June. During the same period, 585,000 people received their first shot. So this is not just people finishing it off. It's more than 500,000 people deciding now to finally start the process of getting vaccination. And that individual, Jeff Zients, says, for the fourth week in a row, we've increased the daily average numbers of Americans newly vaccinated. And importantly, we're seeing the most significant increases in the states with the highest case rates. Now, unfortunately, on that list, we don't see Texas, we don't see Florida, but a number of states that have very high per capita rates are starting to get vaccinated, which implies that as disconnected and frustrating as it can be, Brett, it seems like some people are paying attention.
Yes, and I like to give people the benefit. I hate to give people the benefit of the doubt, but if I don't give them the benefit of the doubt afterwards, I don't like myself. And that's really all that matters according to my kindergarten teaching. So I want to give people the benefit of the doubt in this situation. Maybe they're earnest when some of them say, I want the FDA approval before I do it. I don't want emergency use authorization, I want FDA approval. And then there have been reports about the coming FDA approval for a lot of these things. So if that's the case, maybe that's why people are coming around to these vaccinations. Maybe the people who said, I just want to wait and see what it does to folks to see if there's a problem. Maybe those folks are now coming around. And then there's a lot of people, and I don't want to forget the core of the anti-vaccine movement, which is wildly misguided, and that's how that starts. So maybe they're the remaining anchor on this. I saw something about vaccine hesitancy coinciding with the reduction of the advertisements put out by like whatever it is, the ad council to tell people to get vaccinated. I don't put much credence into that because it might just be the case that they stopped when they felt they'd reached everyone who was reachable. And then that's about when you stop advertising for something, like after the season's over. And then maybe they just cut their losses and the only remaining people are vaccine hesitant. Everyone else has already gotten it. So it's not like, that's one thing.
Can I ask you a question?
No, no, John, move on. Let it go.
So they keep saying it's not FDA approved, even though emergency approval has been given. So supposedly we are not far away from the actual approval for one or all of these vaccines. So all of those who've said, I'm not going to take something that's not FDA approved, what percentage do you think are going to feel good and confident as a result of FDA approval finally coming?
My earnest response is a percentage number, and that number I will respect for being at least consistent. And the rest will, as they always tend to do, click or either shift conveniently to some new justification for doing the thing they were always already going to do anyway, and never acknowledge that that's what they did.
Yeah, I fear that too. I wonder what the number is though. Can't wait to find out. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.